Leanne had been rather taken aback on hearing from Mitch that his brother was back in town. The first time he came to see Charlie with her permission, she almost hid in the bathroom, but decided the grown-up thing to do would be to face him. She was shocked by how much he had changed. Whether that was down to Mitch's renewed guidance since they were rooming together, or whether he had simply grown up a bit in the interim, she wasn't sure. The brothers' arrangement was working very well. Secretly, Frank Adams adored his baby brother and wanted to be more like him, a kind of hero worship more akin to older siblings from their younger ones. Frank had found work in town, working in George Henry Lee's, the department store in town. With everything settled into a routine, Frank would come home around 5, have dinner ready for his brother and himself, then go to Scotland Road to see Charlie. He really was trying his best to put things right after messing up so badly. Suddenly, Frank noticed his brother was going out a lot more, getting dressed up and generally not behaving like his usual self. Frank made a joke of it at first. "Hey you got a girl I don't know about?" Mitch would simply smile, pull on his leather jacket and leave. Frank's curiosity was heightened. He had got that from Leanne. He shared his thoughts with his estranged wife one day as he was picking up his son to take him out for the afternoon. "I don't know what's up with our kid, but I reckon he's seeing someone he doesn't want us to know about." "Frank, I'd keep out of it. I didn't, and I'm afraid I got blamed for me troubles," came the reply. That evening, after returning Charlie to his mother, Frank found his brother getting ready for another night out. "You've been partying hard lately, kid. It's old and wrinkled you'll be before your time." Mitch smiled at his brother sweetly. "Yeah, well, we've all got our secrets, haven't we?" Before heading out the door, Frank could contain his curiosity no longer. Getting into his own car, he discreetly, keeping a few cars behind his brother, followed him to West Derby. Mitch parked outside a pub and got out, while Frank parked round the corner so his car would stay out of sight. Making sure he wasn't seen, he went into the bar. When his eyes found his brother, he couldn't see who he was talking to at the bar. When his brother moved a little way to reveal a redhead sitting on a bar stool next to him, he gasped. "Bloody hell, if it isn't Kelly Henderson, the witch," mumbled Frank to himself before leaving the establishment. He had seen enough and he just wanted to get home. Mitch Adams and Kelly Henderson had been engaged in their university days. He had taken it badly when it ended after a series of rows and a tumultuous relationship that had very nearly destroyed him. Why in God's name is he seeing her? He couldn't work out. Shaking his head, Frank got into his car, started the engine and drove off. Jane was waiting at the bus stop for a bus into town to do her weekend shopping. It was a lovely spring day and the sun lit up the GPO tower, just visible in the distance, making it appear to shimmer. When 2 girls got in the line behind her, she took no notice until one of them started talking in a brusque voice. "Did you hear her yesterday bragging about what she and Mitch Adams got up to in bed?" Jane involuntarily whirled round to get a better look. The girl that had just spoken was rather badly dressed in mismatched blouse and shirt, the blouse almost gaping open on her voluptuous chest. She looked away quickly, hanging her head. The bus came and she got on it, but she wasn't concentrating on anything else that day. "It just can't be true," she tried to tell herself. When Leanne and Charlie came round for dinner that evening, Jane told her what had happened that morning. Leanne was still getting about using a walking stick. The doctor had told her that the broken bones were healing, but were very weak. Leanne was incredulous at Jane's tale. "Oh, get off! It's someone playing a sick joke or something." Leanne thought for a moment. "What did she look like, this girl?" Jane described her, and Leanne, in a moment of recognition, shook her head in despair. "Oh God, there's trouble if I ever saw it." Jane frowned. "Come on then, lady, out with it, spill the beans." "Well, I can't be sure, but from your description, it sounds like that was Angela Morrison stood behind you. You've heard me talk of the ex-fiancé who caused a whole heap of problems. Well, Angela and Kelly were best buddies, practically joined at the hip. Last I heard, they'd gone into business together, somewhere in Cheshire. If Angela's back, that probably probably means Kelly's back in Liverpool too. Leanne groaned and sighed. You're really worried, aren't you? What did she do to him to get you that worried? Oh, you don't know her. She had the poor kid wrapped round her little finger. She could manipulate him in ways you've never even thought of. She'd use sex, money, anything to get what she wanted. Leanne broke off, trying to collect her thoughts. We nearly caught her putting drugs in his drink. We think it was an E-tablet. He was as sick as a dog. It was terrifying for him, and terrifying to watch. We never could prove it was her. We just had to assume in the end he'd taken it himself. But I never believed that. Jane was just about to finish making dinner when there was a knock at the door. It was Frank Adams, looking pale and drawn. Jane had let him in. Sorry to interrupt a girls' night in, he apologised. Is our kid here? Leanne, who had made her way into the hall, shook her head. No, he's not been here. Actually, I haven't seen him for a couple of weeks. Why, Frank? What's up? Frank looked worried. Putting a hand through his hair, he said tiredly, We've got a problem. Leanne nodded. I know. Kelly Henderson. Frank nodded gently. That's not all. He's been out all day, and he hasn't even come home for his tea. It's not like him. I'm worried sick. Jane looked confused. Don't get me wrong. I understand why you're concerned, but he's a grown man. Can't he look after himself? He's probably gone for a drink or something with some mates and lost track of the time. Frank and Leanne shared a look. They hoped she was right.